In this video series, we will explore the Modicon Edge I/O NTS distributed I/O product line and show how you can use it as remote I/O for the SCADAPack RTU. Modicon Edge I/O is a compact, modular, DIN rail mounted distributed I/O system. There's a wide variety of modules for I/O, communication, and power. Configuration is straightforward and can be automatic or done with a software app or web interface. High I/O density is available in several of the modules, all of which have a very small footprint. The I/O modules are hot swappable with others of the same type, and the design is highly expandable and flexible. An Edge I/O NTS installation is called an island. The first module is always the Network Interface Module, or NIM, which is a communication interface. High I/O capacity may be provided with as many as 32 I/O modules in an island, and the last module in an island is a bus termination module. When you connect an island to an RTU with a standard Ethernet cable, the separation may be up to 100 meters, though inclusion of a network switch or wireless modem could increase this distance. Most of the common I/O module types are already available in an Edge system. This includes digital input and output modules, including relay output modules, analog input and output modules, both current and voltage types, and both differential and single-ended options. High-speed counter modules are available with a maximum counting frequency of 250 kHz. There are RTD modules, which also work with thermocouples, and HART capability will be available with both analog input and output modules. To match the environmental specifications of your SCADAPack, hardened versions of many modules are available. Here's a typical Edge I/O island layout. First is always the NIM, in this case a 2-port Modbus TCP or Ethernet IP type. Next is a power distribution module for the bus and 24-volt DC I/O channels. This is placed between the NIM and the first I/O module. Next, in this case, is an 8-channel analog input module and a 4-channel analog output module. Then there's a 16-channel DI module and a 2-channel relay module. Beside that is a dummy module, which acts as a placeholder for a module to be added later. Finally, a termination module is required at the right end of the cluster. If you purchase the kit version of any module, it includes the required base. Bases provide the attachment to the DIN rail and also connect to each other to pass intermodule communication and power. The kit version of the NIM includes both its base and bus termination module. When you apply power to an island with a factory defaulted network module, it'll be configured automatically with default module parameters. And 40,000 series Modbus addresses are assigned to each module's I/O and diagnostic parameters. By default, the LAN port address will be assigned by a dynamic host configuration protocol server, though by rotating a switch on the NIM's front panel, the default IP address can be based on the NIM's MAC address. However, it's likely that you'll want to do at least some manual configuration of your Edge I/O island. The Edge Configurator software tool or the NIM's built-in web server may be used to configure the island. There are 2 ways you can do this. You can create an island offline by adding modules in the Edge Configurator, then downloading that configuration to the NIM. Or you can physically assemble the modules as required, then perform a scan and create configuration to generate a file matching the actual layout. You can change the network module's LAN port and USB IP addresses through the Edge Configurator if desired. I/O module configurations may be changed as well to match field requirements. You can then save and download the modified configuration to the island. Each module is inserted into a base which passes the island bus signals. Installation of the bases is straightforward, using a simple latch to attach them to a standard DIN rail. Adjacent bases are interlocked for bus reliability, so bases themselves are not hot swappable, but you can hot swap modules other than the NIM and the power supply. Carefully planning the module layout before beginning will help with proper placement of the bases. And if you may want to add more modules later, without shutting down the island, you can include dummy modules as placeholders. Now let's take a quick look at the installation of modules. Here's how you install the bases onto the DIN rail. Note that these images presume the module is already attached to the base, but the procedure is the same. First, hook the tip of the base onto the top of the DIN rail, then press the bottom down firmly until it clicks into place. Next, push the green locking toggle down, and then slide the base to the left until it clicks into place on the module to its left. To insert an Edge I/O module into its base, whether before or after attaching the base to the DIN rail, first hook the bottom of the module into the guides in the base, then push the top of the module in until the latch clicks. You can remove a module by pressing the small green button on top, then rotating the top of the module outwards. And for easier hot swapping, you can remove the terminal blocks from a module without removing the wires. Now I'll show you a project where an Edge I/O island can help you create a system with a flexible and cost-effective remote I/O solution. Here you can see that initially this site included only one tank and the associated pump, valve, and other monitoring equipment. The SCADAPack installed nearby was a good solution in this case, but now the site is growing, with more tanks and other hardware some distance away. For monitoring and control of these tanks, a second RTU and additional I/O modules might have been required. Instead, you can install an Edge I/O island near the new tanks and connect it back to the existing SCADAPack over Ethernet. To implement the project as discussed, we'll start with a 470 series SCADAPack. The Remote Connect configuration software will be used to configure and program the RTU, and the Modicon Edge I/O configurator software, or web tool, will be used for configuring the Edge island. A 24-volt DC power supply capable of powering both the RTU and Edge island will be needed, and if you want to simulate inputs, an I/O simulator or separate switches and a milliamp current source may be used. My Edge I/O island includes an NEC 1200 dual Ethernet Modbus TCP network module, a 24-volt power distribution module, a 4-channel analog input module, which may be used to monitor tank level and temperature, a 4-channel analog output module, which could control valve position, a 6-point digital input module for monitoring pump status or tank high-high switch, an 8-point digital output module for controlling items such as status lamps or for driving relays, and a bus terminator. When you're ready, please move on to the second video in this series.